So have you ever heard of the book Bowling Alone by Robert Putnam? Do you know that one, Eric?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay. Well, it was published in 2000, and this book suggests that Americans are far less likely to join social organizations, such as bowling leagues, because they'd rather just, well, bowl alone. It was this sentiment which inspired Scott Heiferman to create Meetup.com. Heiferman envisioned local people getting together to do local things. In other words, Heiferman wanted to use the virtual world to connect people face to face. As he quoted in an interview, to use the internet to get off the internet. With a membership over, well over 1 million members, people can use Meetup.com to enter their location and the distance they are willing to travel from said location. If desired, they can specify which kinds of meetups they are interested in. And there's no cost associated with a Meetup membership. Categories include, but are certainly not limited to, arts and culture, career and business, dancing, outdoor and adventure, paranormal, singles, and tech. Those are just a few of them. So joining us this morning, Lee Zett is the organizer for a local meetup called Boardwalk. The so-called recreational walkers of Boardwalk have met nearly 600 times since they were founded by Lee in April 2008. Lee, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Before we discuss your success with Boardwalk, let's first talk about Meetup.com as a way to connect with new people. How did you hear about Meetup.com, and why did you decide to use it back in 2008?
Well, I went on the internet, and I was looking for something totally different, and I came across Meetup as I was searching, and it fit what I was looking for, and I immediately got into it. I love the idea, and it really works.
Excellent. Good. And we're going to talk about that soon. But I just want to start with, so as I discovered when I began polling some of my friends and colleagues, I thought that Meetup was very well-known and highly used, at least among my immediate social group. But I found, upon polling people, that Meetup is actually a rather well-kept secret. For our listeners who have never heard of Meetup, how do you use it as an organizer? So in other words, what sorts of information do you and other members post online?
Well, there's all kinds. I mean, as far as my group goes, which is called Boardwalk, we do mainly walks and hikes. The Meetup organization itself manages to get the information out there to all its members. And members, just like you said, they don't have to pay for this. It's totally free, and this is the best bargain there is on the Internet, actually. You can't beat it. Anything you want to do, you can do with Meetup. It's, like you said, it's every topic. There are over 90,000 topics alone in 45,000 cities around the world.
And if it's free, I probably would like it because free is one of my favorite things. Now, a question for you, Lee, and that is, when I think of when I hear a name like Meetup.com, is this something that also holds romantic possibilities for people? Is it anything like a Match.com or something like that? Or are there, I guess, the different, you say that there's the different aspects of the site. Is that one of them?
Well, you can go to singles meetup sites, but I think that puts a little bit of pressure on the individual. As far as meeting people to date, you can do that in Boardwalk, my group. That's very possible. A lot of our members have met up with others, not only female to female, but male to male. It's a social interactive group. That's just what it is, and it works very well. And you make long-lasting friendships while you're at it.
Excellent. So basically, you can create a profile. So for Boardwalk, do you have members fill out just a brief survey about themselves so that when they respond they RSVP to an event. That way other members can read a little bit about them. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. There are profile questions. I provide 5 questions, and nothing in depth. It's just on the fringes, but you get a small idea of what the person is about and what they're interested in within the group.
Excellent. Okay. So, again, we're going to talk very specifically about Boardwalk, but I have one other question for you. What is it like to meet virtual strangers for the first time when they attend one of the events that you organize?
It was very varied. I mean, most people are very friendly, and we try to be friendly back to them. But we get some that are standoffish, and you have to, sort of help them through the procedure of meeting people.
Sure.
But most of the members are very friendly, and they help others who are brand new get acquainted with the group.
Good. And it seems like it would be almost a self-selecting group in that anyone who is online searching for ways to meet people in person probably already are, very friendly and outgoing individuals to begin with. Is that usually the case?
Yeah, that's usually the case. My group, they're very friendly and very forthright, and that's what I love about the group. Over 960 members, and 90% of them are very friendly.
Now, Lee, a question for you. Are there any safety measures in place? And I just think of, I don't know much about Meetup, but I have used various computer programs over time where I have met some of the people that I met online later on. For example, when I was overseas, I used a program called Pal Talk to listen to some of my favorite radio stations from back in the country and met some people who were also interested in those same radio stations. But some of those people were perhaps not the best people, I guess is the best way to put it. What safety measures are in place to ensure that there aren't any dangerous people, for lack of a better word, or are there any safety measures in place?
Well, as far as my group goes, I have never met a dangerous person per se. I mean, I've met some people that are a little off, but they usually weed themselves out because I guess it just comes through, and the socialness is just not there.
Sure.
Right.
Okay. All right, so let's turn to Boardwalk specifically. What motivated you to create this specific meetup?
Well, as I was walking along the Long Beach Boardwalk in 6 years ago, that was before Hurricane Sandy.
Okay.
The boardwalk was small, and I took a few pictures of the boardwalk, and as I put them on the computer, I said, wow, that would be a great picture for some kind of group. And I did developed that picture, and I added it onto T-shirts, and that's where the group was born, with that T-shirt, and a lot of my members wear that shirt right now. And but the walking aspect of it is very important to me for my health, and I knew that if I had a lot of people to walk with, I would walk more often.
Yes. So what are Boardwalk meetups like? Where and when do you meet? And, what are the sorts of activities you mentioned? Walking and maybe some light hiking?
Oh, yeah, there is light hiking. It's mostly walks, but there are hikes involved. And we meet every Wednesday and Tuesday during the week for those who don't work. Wednesday night at Jones Beach at 7 o'clock. We walk there. We get 40 to 50 people at that walk.
Wow. And
on the weekends, we also walk Saturday and Sunday all over Long Island, state parks, arboretums, small towns, you name it. This weekend we'll be going to the Bayard Cutting Arboretum over there in Oakdale. Beautiful place. And that's about a 4-mile walk. So, yeah, we do a lot of walking. And I guess I've walked over maybe 2,000 miles since I started the group.
Wow. It sounds like you know quite a lot about the local area. Are you from Long Island originally?
Well, I'm from Queens. But I moved to Long Island in the 70s.
Okay. Excellent. So what has been your most memorable meetup thus far? You've been at this since 2008. Which, looking back now, which has been one of your favorite, either because of the setting or a specific activity that, the meetup members engaged in? Which one stands out to you?
Well, the one that's most memorable is not actually the best, but it's the most memorable, which happened a couple of weeks ago at the Muttontown Preserve. And actually, it's memorable because I got lost. I got lost in the woods with about 30 people. And that's not a fun thing to do when everybody's wandering around not knowing where they are. And the woods can get pretty dense. But I got lost there. I knew the path, but the path was blocked by a huge puddle, so we had to turn around. Oh. So as we turned around, there was no way to figure out. There are paths intertwining with other paths. There's just nowhere to go. So 5 people had GPS devices. Of course, everybody had a different way out. So that's the problem with GPS. Yes. You have to use your own instincts sometimes in the woods.
Yes.
But we did manage to get out and into the outside world eventually.
Good.
But I did go back to Muttontown the following week, and I bought my machete, and I cut a new path around that miniature lake. And now hopefully it'll stay that way for a while, and we'll go back and we'll get around it.
Very good.
And Lee, I personally know that preserve quite well. My mother-in-law and her husband live very close to there, and actually there are people who have to be kind of rescued out of the trails there fairly regularly because it all starts looking a little similar as you walk around back in the woods there, all the paths. But, the good thing that Lee went back there and helped people out who might get stuck by when he talks about puddles out there, some of these puddles are closer to an ocean than a puddle, I would say, a little bit in size-wise. Is that not fair, Lee?
Right, it's amazing. Once it rains, it's a quagmire.
Yeah,
it's too funny. And you mentioned, that Hurricane Sandy. This group had existed before Sandy. I wanted to know, how did Sandy change the culture of the group or the spirit of the group? Because a lot of what you do, or a lot of the places that you walk, are boardwalks, as the name suggests. So, did anything change or regarding post-Sandy walking?
Actually, everything changed, especially with the boardwalks. The Long Beach boardwalk was wiped out, so for, I guess, 6 to 8 months, there was no place to walk over there. And they finished it gradually, mile by mile, so we got to walk it back and forth many times in order to get our walking in. But eventually it was totally finished, and it's beautiful. I don't know if you've been there.
I haven't been yet.
Well, it's like 8 feet wider than it used to be.
Wow.
And it's beautiful. Totally, it's probably almost as wide as Atlantic City. It's a really beautiful boardwalk. As far as the state parks go, all the paths were blocked, and the trees had to be moved, and there was no way through those paths. So we had to make arrangements to change our plans many times.
Okay. But now you have some beautiful boardwalks to walk on, so that's great. So I'm wondering, do you host these events year-round, or are there times that the meetups just kind of come to a close because of weather or snow or something like that?
No, we never stop. We walk everything. We've walked through 6 to 7 inches of snow.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets pretty messy out there, but I'd much rather walk in cold weather than hot weather, to tell you the truth.
Sure. You
can always, put clothes on, but it's tough. It's a limit to how many clothes you can take off.
Yes, very good. That's wonderful that you guys never stop. It's beautiful.
All year long.
Ugh. And what is it that when people meet up, I can't believe the numbers can be very large. I mean, you might be leading quite a few people with you. What is it that are there discussion topics? Is it just kind of natural that people will pair off or group off and have some talks as they're walking through the woods or along the boardwalk? Or, what do they look like? What does the culture of the group look like in that regard?
Well, we try to stay together most of the time, especially in the woods, because, like I said, you can get lost.
Sure.
So I will. We do have some stragglers once in a while, but I hold up and wait for them to catch up every so often so that I know everybody is involved. But on the boardwalks, we do tend to spread out a little bit, and there are many topics that our members talk about. God knows what they are, but I don't get involved with all of them. But in the woods, we have to stay together. That's one of the important aspects of it. Even though we also do walks in the city, which is another place we have to stay together. because it can be more dangerous in the city than in the woods.
Yes.
Because people walk across the street not knowing, that it's dangerous.
Yes, yes.
They're talking to each other, and they don't realize the city is not in the woods. You're out there.
Right.
Hey, Lee, looking at the groups, what does the group look like? I mean, age-wise, what is the average age of a member of your group? Are there younger people along with more advanced people? I don't like saying older as I get older and older. So what does the demographics of the group look like?
Well, I would say the average age of the group is maybe 48, 50.
Okay.
We have a few members in their upper 20s, and we have a few members in their 70s.
Wow.
So it's rather large, And actually, some of the 70-year-olds are faster walkers than the younger people.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's a very healthy group, let's put it that way.
Good.
Right. These kids today, they never get out of the house with their Xboxes and their
I know.
Nintendos and their Sega Master System. I'm talking about old video game systems now. But.
So how often will a new member join? It sounds like you've got a really nice base, of people that show up regularly, but how often is it that you see a new face and you say, oh, wow, the group's still growing?
Yeah, we get membership. I guess we get 6 to 10 new members a week.
Really?
And membership. And I'm sure after people hear this radio program, I might be getting more. But, we do get quite a few. We also lose about 2 to 3 a week.
Sure.
For various reasons. You don't always find out why.
Okay. So what are your plans for the future of the group? Are there, some upcoming places that you've been wanting to try, or, is there anything special planned for over the summer? Any visions that you have going forward with the group?
Oh, yeah. Coming the end of June, we'll be going out to Greenport, one of my favorite places to walk. We walk that town and the surrounding area. And, after every walk, we have to eat. That's important.
Ah,
got to refill your belly. And after the eating, we go out to the pier, and there's always a band out there, and we do some dancing, which is also very good for you. As long as you stay on the dance floor, it's as good as walking.
Yes.
That's but we love the Greenport walk. That's really nice. And also Compset. I don't know if you've ever been to Compset Park out in Huntington.
Yes.
I guess your co-host, he lives over there.
I do.
Right.
I do live over there, and I am familiar with that one and Heckscher Park. There's a lot of nice parks over in the Huntington area, actually.
Compset is beautiful. It's fantastic. You have a little bit of everything there. You have the bluffs. You have the beach. It's a great walk. We do that 3 or 4 times a year.
That's wonderful. So we mentioned, Lee, that hopefully we have some listeners who are interested in joining you. How can they find you or Boardwalk or, and again, keep in mind that this might be the first time that our listeners have even heard of meetup.com. So just briefly walk them through how they could access Boardwalk.
Well, it's fairly simple. It's a totally online situation. You have to have a computer or have access to a computer in order to join. As far as joining, you just go onto Google and type in meetup.com/boardwalk.
Okay.
That's my group.
Okay.
If you want to do other groups, it's just meetup.com. It's very, very easy.
Excellent. Excellent.
Right, and it sounds like your group in particular, people are going to get some exercise and meet some new people, and of course, after they burn off some of those calories, go put some right back on at the restaurant and all that good stuff. It really, I was unfamiliar with this, but it really is an interesting thing that you guys have going on there, and of course, do you have any idea how many other groups there are in total on meetup.com, or?
Well, in total, there are 90,000 topics.
Wow.
I'm figuring there's at least 90,000 groups.
Yeah, I don't think I could personally come up with 90,000 different things that I can think of. So the fact that there's 90,000 different topics is...
Well, there's all kinds of topics. We even got one group that are cougars.
Oh goodness. Well, let's save that for a different day.
But it's really interesting. Like I said, that when I started with the intro here, the founders I was listening to an interview, and they said they never imagined that people would use it in the ways that they have, and they were so pleasantly surprised with how it really took off. Their initial thought was actually that it was going to be locals who had shared interest in these sort of obscure things like stamp collecting or, motorcycles, or more hobby related. But they found that it really, it became, like we said earlier, singles. It became dancing, recreational activities, as Lee has been talking about for the past few minutes here, and even political groups, social activism. So it really, people are creative. Once you give them a platform, they make a lot of things happen, which is great.
Yeah, it really blossomed for them. And as I heard the story, they started Meetup in right here, 2001 with 9/11.
Yes.
To bring people together.
Exactly.
Exactly what it did. I mean, it's unbelievable what happened.
Yes.
After that.
Yep, they said that they were inspired by the way the city sort of changed, a way of uniting people, and they wanted to keep that sentiment alive. So I think that they have, and you have, by your way of, bringing it out to the island and getting people excited. So, Lee, I just want to thank you so much for being with us this morning. I hope to meet you in person one of these upcoming, perhaps Wednesday. Jones Beach is not so far away from me.
Right,
so
come over at 7 o'clock, we start our walk.
All right. I'm a very avid walker, and it would be nice to walk with a group as opposed to by myself every once in a while.
I, on the other hand, am not. If there's not wheels that are able to get me there, I'm probably not going.
But now, while you're young, because this is the best time.
Right. Well, Lee, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You're listening to the Hofstra Morning Wake Up Call on 88.7 FM, WRHU Radio, Hofstra University.